This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you have never thought of setting up a strategy to optimize your price in order to increase sales velocity, conversion rates, and profitability, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us how setting up the right pricing strategy for your business can help you maximize the potential of your Amazon listings. I'm joined today by Daniel Hannig. He started out his career as a copywriter in the field of competition law, and the experience he drew from working so closely with marketing moved him to shift his career into a more creative direction. And now he specializes in content creation for software companies. He's been working in the SaaS area for 3 years now, and he's now the content marketing manager at SellerLogic. Hey, Daniel, how is it going?
Hey, Gianmarco, thanks for the intro, and also thank you very much for inviting me to your show, to your podcast.
Awesome. So let's dive in. You guys are the expert of pricing, so that's why
Right.
I wanted to have this chat with you, because I think most people are not thinking much about having a pricing strategy, and we know that price is actually really one of the top 1 or 2 factors when we're talking about conversion rate or click-through rate, right? So pricing, obviously, it's a massive variable in our success on Amazon, selling on Amazon. So let's start by giving people some context, right? So what results can people expect by finding the right price strategies for our products, because they are not used to even think of a pricing strategy?
Right. That's actually a really great opening question, Gianmarco, because the results that we can expect to find, first of all, we have to look at it from 2 perspectives. Either is a seller selling over wholesale, or is he or she selling a private label, an own brand? And the results are pretty much the same in both cases. It's it's more sales at the end of the day, because for the wholesalers, as you just said, it's super important because the right pricing strategy is one of the most important metrics to win the buy box, right? The coveted buy box, which at the end of the day, if you win it or if you hold it, translates directly into higher visibility in the Amazon product search, which of course then translates into a higher conversion rate, into more sales. And of course, if you sell over private label, the right pricing strategy will enable you to assert yourself against the competition. A lot of people say, if I sell my own brand, I don't need to compete for anyone to win the buy box. But the thing is, just because you're not competing for the buy box doesn't mean you don't have competition. There are still people selling similar products that you do. And as you know it better than me, right? The competition on Amazon is extremely fierce. And if you have the right pricing strategy, that always gives you an edge over the competition. It helps you assert yourself against that competition. And it also helps you take advantage of, certain time periods where you can improve or increase your profits.
Exactly. So definitely, I'd like to dive into this strategy. So guys, sure. as you know, in every episode we provide a complementary material. So in this case, Daniel put together a guide where that explains the strategies that we're going to talk about right now. So you will find this guide in the show notes at thesellerprocess.com or in the descriptions in the YouTube video. So go download that if you want to learn more. But now let's dive into this strategy. So what are the strategies? And let's divide them also by wholesale and private label brand, so we can understand like each one what's the strategy that can be implemented.
Absolutely. There are probably a million pricing strategies out there. I think maybe if that's okay with you, I'll just dive into the 4 that I also described in the white paper that I wrote for you guys, but also the ones that I'm more familiar with, and maybe add one that I find quite cool that Amazon uses itself. Let's start for the strategy for wholesale sellers and only wholesale sellers. And this is our most, at SellerLogic, this is the most popular strategy there is. This is the one most of our clients use. It's the buy box strategy. So as the name says, you could maybe think already what it's about. It helps wholesalers win and hold the buy box for the longest time period possible. So what happens here is, first of all, you have to win the buy box. And Amazon, being like a very customer centric company, of course, gives the buy box to sellers that hold the most competitive price, right? So the first thing you're going to have to do is you have to set the most competitive price possible, the most competitive price that you can bear to set. And then once you notice a sharp incline in sales, that's the best indicator that you are now in the buy box and you're making sales. Everything is great. But the thing is, you're making sales, but are you making sales at the highest profit possible? So are you selling at the most optimal price? And that is not the case, because competitive price doesn't mean the highest profit. So what you're going to do after that is hike the price upwards in small installments. You know that you have the buy box and you want to keep it, and you just hike the price up by, let's say, depending on what your competitors are pricing, several cents, a dollar or something like that. But you slowly hike upwards until you notice a sharp decrease in sales. That's when you know, okay, you went too high, then you go back lower again in order to, be in the buy box, but sell at the optimal price while being in the buy box. That's basically the buy box strategy for wholesalers. And the second strategy. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Did you?
No, I mean, I understand. This is pretty like straightforward, I would say. So obviously, it can be done manually, but I know most people use like a pricing software that can do that basically automatically. And so I mean that I've done. Right now, I'm not doing wholesale myself, but I've done it, a couple of years ago, and definitely, it's a handy tool to have a price pricing tool that helps you, with that, especially if you have many products. Okay, let's go. Let's move on to the other ones, and maybe we can go deeper into each of these if there is anything that we need to add.
Sure. The next strategy that I also mentioned in the white paper is called the push strategy. This one is for brand sellers and for wholesale sellers alike. And this is actually also quite straightforward. So based on your sales numbers and a certain period of time, the price either increases or decreases. So let's say you have a certain new product and you notice that in the time period of 5 days, it's sold 20 times. And if that's a good result for you, you can increase the price by a certain percentage. This can also, as you just said, this can be done manually, and it can also be done automatically or through automation, through a repricing software. The thing is also what you said is the more products you have, the more sense it makes to get a repricing strategy, even if it's just a simple strategy like the push, right? Because I think most clients come to SellerLogic after they have, I think, 70 or 80 SKUs, simply because it's not worth their time anymore to do it manually. It just takes too much of their time when they could be doing other stuff, like working on their listing or sourcing, or just taking a well-deserved nap. I don't know, but that's exactly when they decide to take a repricing software. So around 70 to 80 SKUs. Yeah.
Okay. So about the push strategy that you just mentioned, it's basically setting up a criteria after which the price will be increased, right? So, for example, a number of sales. After you reach that number of sales in a given time frame, then you are you're increasing a little bit the price.
Exactly. And of course, it goes in the other direction as well. If you notice, hey, I haven't sold a single pair of, Birkenstock sandals in 20 days, and you're going to be like, okay, maybe I will decrease the price and see if I can just get rid of the lot. You know what I mean? So it goes in both ways. It either increases or decreases depending on the sales. And
I'm interested to ask you, like, what are some like let's say best practices in doing this? Are we going to add, increase or decrease in a percentage or on a dollar base, for example?
Most of our clients use percentage. Of course, you can do it percentage and value based, but that is just a preference, so to say. All I can say is from experience, I know that most of our clients use percentage, but of course, if you feel more comfortable with a value-based approach, that is also valid. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. I'm also wondering another thing about that is, there is lots of psychology around price, right? So,
Right.
the famous $9.99, or
charm pricing.
right, or $29.99, and then people started figuring out about the 99 thing, and then the people that there are other sellers who do the 98 or 95 or 90, something like that. So I'm wondering, like, if you ever went into this psychology thing, and do you suggest that we use like regular amounts, like, for example, adding, say, 10 cents or $1, every time, or increasing or decreasing of 10 cents or $1, or should we also consider like random numbers, like, I don't know, 10.49 or 10.32, like some random numbers, because I guess the psychology of that, it's a thing in this case.
Absolutely. I think personally, I would say go for the regular amounts, 10 cents or $1. But I think that because it just seems more coordinated, but that might just be my German half talking. On the other hand, if you have a random number, let's say, what do you say, 10.49 or something?
Yeah, I know.
I think that could also make sense in certain scenarios. Let's say you want to outbid one particular competitor, and this competitor is selling at 10.52. Then by all means go for 10.49. Absolutely. And also what you said, charm pricing. It works on Amazon as well. I mean, you just have to go on Amazon, see how many people do it. They do that for a reason. And I know, even I know it myself, and I work in repricing. I see something that's like, okay, so it's not $10, but it's $9.99. I'm like, okay, who are you trying to fool? But if they sell it for $9.95, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. It works. It definitely works. So yeah, if you have the opportunity to do that, definitely go for the charm pricing. That what you just said at the beginning. But our repricer, for example, it works in regular amounts, definitely. But is depending on the scenario, it could also make sense to take a random number. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess, if we actually go by percentages, increasing or decreasing, then there is the chance that the price gets to random numbers.
Sure.
Instead of using cents, 10 cents or $1 increase or decrease. Okay, that's interesting. I think it's one of the main thing people should A/B test. Like, we're used to A/B test. Main images, titles, or A+ content, but I think it really will be really worth it to look into A/B testing price, because that's really one of the factors that mostly influences click-through rate and also conversion rate eventually. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Let's move on. Do you have let's move on to the other strategies that you were mentioning.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. One strategy, and this is a strategy, I don't know if you could do it non-automatically. It's a strategy that we offer with a repricer. We call it the manual strategy. It's simply for sellers that know their environment really well and that know their competitors really well. For example, it might be that you're on a listing and you have like 10 competitors selling the same product, but 7 of them are trash because, I don't know, they have horrid customer service, they never deliver on time, and they're just not sellers to be taken seriously. What you can do here in this case with the manual strategies, you can simply blacklist those 7 sellers so that the repricer will focus only on the 3 sellers that are true competition. And that of course, the benefit of that is that you can focus your energy and your time on the competition that is actually relevant, while not regarding or disregarding the ones that are not.
Okay. Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, definitely. I think that applies to almost everybody. We don't want to compete. We're not competing with everybody. Maybe just we only want to have a competitive price compared to our direct competitors. Okay, makes sense. But something that comes to my mind in this case is that we don't always want to have the lowest price possible, right? Because this is something actually that I've learned, from with my products. My bestseller is actually the highest price in the market, and we are the bestseller in that niche, and we have the highest price. But it's still a low price item, like $17. But so we are higher price than like a few, maybe $1 compared to other people, or just few cents. But we're still the highest price, and we're the best seller. So it doesn't always relate. Like the cheapest price doesn't always mean that we can sell more, right? So I'm wondering, like, what's a strategy to actually find the optimal price that can maximize our conversion rate and sales?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, congratulations on that good product. But the thing is, most people, out of experience, I can say that most of the time the competitive prices win. But of course, you're very correct. You don't want to sell at the most competitive price all the time. You want to make a profit at some point. So I think the optimal strategy that maximizes your conversion rate, or let's say maximizes your conversion rate at the optimal price, would definitely be, for wholesale sellers, the buy box strategy. Because as I said, it starts off low, but then it goes up high, and then it ends up at a good equilibrium between high visibility and a cool margin. I think an optimal strategy to maximize conversion rates for private label sellers, I don't know, one thing that comes to mind would be to take advantage of certain trends. For example, time. There's this trend we have in Germany, and I don't see why it should not be a trend anywhere else, that the sales always go up after 8 o'clock in the evening, because that's when most people come home, they've had their dinner, they're chilling on the couch, and they're looking for ways to spend their money on Amazon. And that's when the sales always go up, and that's when most of our sellers also increase their prices. Then again, they set them down again at around 12 o'clock, so to attain their visibility, because they don't want to be expensive the whole time, because that of course will affect their visibility in the products. So stuff like that, basically.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Actually, I recently moved to Bali, and one thing I've learned is that they like to have the very first sale in the morning as soon as possible, because that wishes good luck. So what many people do is that they go very early in the morning, so that they can get they can bargain the best prices, right? Because everybody wants to give away their stuff as soon as possible, so it wishes good luck for the rest of the day. So this is essentially a very similar strategy, like in the market. So you are day parting your price. I think that's very smart. It's something that I would like to test as well with my products. I'm definitely finding a good performance with the day with using day parting in PPC. So I only activate PPC in daytime between, I think, say 6 a.m. and 9 p.m., something like that. So I shut down the PPC during nighttime, and that has been working well. I think it would be very smart now to test having like lower prices during a certain low conversion hours, and higher prices in higher conversion hours. And that's something, I think it's worth exploring. Definitely interesting.
Yeah. I have a question, actually, because I read about it earlier. I think maybe you might have seen it somewhere as well. I've read that it's become a trend nowadays that a lot of sellers, they and also sellers that are knowledgeable about how reprices work, what they do is when at night, when normally the prices should be going down, they go up with the prices, assuming that the reprices will follow suit, meaning that the prices will go up, and then at the time when people start buying again, they are the first ones to drop the prices, while the other prices are still up, so that they get the sale. Have you seen something like that, or is that just something someone wrote in a forum? I don't know. Yeah.
I haven't heard about that, because this is specifically a wholesale kind of strategy, right?
Okay. Right.
But I like it. I think it makes sense. Yeah, definitely, because so it's assuming that most people have a repricing tool, then basically you kind of trick the other repricers by going up and then going down at the right time in the day. Yeah, that's smart. I think it's interesting for the people who are listening, who have a wholesale business. Definitely, it's something worth to try. All right. Do we have another one? We said 3, I think, 3 strategies.
Oh, yeah, right. Actually, this one actually fits very well into what we said just now. It's the daily push strategy. So basically, it's like the push strategy I mentioned before. Depending on how many sales you make in a certain period of time, your price either increases or decreases. But the twist is, at the end of the day, at 12 o'clock at night, the price goes back to the initial price. And the idea behind it is that you regain your visibility, so that you don't if your prices are up, they don't stay up, and you don't lose visibility over the Amazon product search. It just goes back to the initial price, which may have been lower, so that you remain visible to potential customers. And also, if we take the tactic that we said just now, that's when the repricers just follow suit and they go up with the price in the middle of the night. That would not happen with a daily push strategy, because it would basically be immune to that, because it always drops down to the initial price. So in case anybody tries that, the daily push strategists, they're definitely safe. So
yeah, interesting. I actually like this better for private label sellers. I think the one you mentioned, the daily push strategy, I think it makes sense, because you want to, the ranking on Amazon, it's something like super dynamic. So it changes multiple times during the day. So you want to be on top of your price and not, let it slip. If just for a few hours you're selling less units, the mechanism should be either to be that is manual or with an automatic tool, but it should bring the price back to the level in which you're converting well. So that's actually something interesting. Yeah, I think at some point of the day you should have maybe a higher price, and in other lower converting times a lower price. Yeah, so that's definitely a strategy. Yeah, I like to test. Yeah, definitely it's interesting. All right, so curious to ask you, like, what do you think are the most common mistakes people make when they set up when they're setting up their price strategy for their products?
Yeah, well, the most common mistake we see when we pitch to potential sellers is that they set their price based on uninformed decisions. So basically, they only take one factor into account, worst case scenario, and that factor is, how much of a profit can I make? They don't take into account what are my competitors, at what price are my competitors selling at what times of the day should I go up with the price? When should I decrease the price? Or, other external stuff like referral fees or something, Amazon referral fees, because if you've ever seen like the exceptions for the 15% referral fee, that's a lot of exceptions, and they don't necessarily make any sense. And a lot of people, they don't research that. For example, if you'd be selling pet supplies, right? And you have a 15% referral fee by Amazon, but then you want to expand into dog food, which is encompassed by a veterinary diet. Then all of a sudden, that 15% jumps up to 22% referral fee. And if you don't put that up on your final price, at the end of the day, that's 7% out of your pocket. Stuff like that. So I think the most common mistakes we see are definitely that people just set the price based on an uninformed decision. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, in regard to repricers, is that they often use software that is a rule-based repricer, mainly because it's free of charge. And a lot of people think, hey, if I can get this for free, why should I use a tool that I have to pay for, which in itself is a sound decision. But the thing is, with the rule-based repricers, they only work by one rule, and that's set the most competitive price. And that at the end leads to price wars, where everybody wins, just not the sellers. And that's an unfair scenario, at least in my book.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So you're suggesting for wholesale businesses to use an algorithmic kind of tool, right? Not rule-based.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For wholesale and also for private label, definitely.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense because we need to, as we mentioned, with these strategies, we need to increase or decrease the price based on several factors, not just one rule. It's several different factors, which can still be managed manually at a low number of SKUs, but then it becomes quite difficult if you have like 10, 20 or more SKUs. And just actually to add to your answer, I think one of the common mistakes is that people don't even think of a price strategy, right? So they think of everything else like PPC and listing optimization, but then they don't think that price, it's one of the main thing when it comes to listing optimization. So it's really one of the things that you should do A/B tests on. Not be afraid of. Actually, one of my personal suggestions is actually I would like to give to everybody is like, don't be afraid of raising your prices, because many people are stuck in a kind of a low level, let's say, mentality, like that with high price people buy less, and with low prices people buy more. That's not the case. Depends. That really depends on each product. But I would say many times, if you increase the price, you give a perception of a premium product to the market, and sometimes people are actually willing to pay more because they think your product it's more premium, it has more value, it's higher quality. So I think that's something I've learned also. All right, so we're right on time. I have the last question for you, which is kind of our signature question here at the Seller Process. What is your best advice to achieve more with less when it comes to setting the right pricing on Amazon?
Yeah, more with less is a good cue. As you can probably guess, I'm a big fan of automation myself, and if you have the chance, always automate tedious processes. And repricing in itself, as interesting as it is, pricing strategy, it is, if you have a lot of products, it becomes a tedious manual process. And I would say invest the money so that a solution can take that time off your hands. And it doesn't have to be with our solution. You can test so many solutions, and there's always a 2-week trial period that you can use. Test them all out and see which one suits your business. But the main thing is definitely automate a tedious process, especially when it comes to repricing.
Makes sense. Obviously, we're also a big fans of automations here at the Seller Process. So
I guessed,
if you guys have the opportunity to outsource it, automate it, maybe not outsourcing it. It's a big topic. I don't want you guys to point me. Oh, you said outsource everything. No, I'm not suggesting that. But if there is a good chance to automate things, then yes, I would suggest to automate things as much as possible. Better than hiring people. Definitely better than hiring people, because machines are easier to work with than people. All right,
less errors normally.
That's another topic we can discuss, but
most of the time. Podcast, I guess.
Cool, Daniel. So thank you very much for this chat. How can people find you, and what can you do for them if they would like your help, or you use your software? Tell people.
Absolutely. You can always you can access our website at www.sellerlogic.com. Over there, you'll directly find a drop-down menu where you can check out our 2 solutions, one being the repricing solution that we talked about today, and another one being the lost and found solution, which basically helps you with reimbursement claims due to FBA errors. We also have, I'm just going to pitch my blog really shamelessly here. We also have a really cool blog in English and German. If you guys want to read up on certain topics regarding repricing or Amazon in general, be sure to look by and leave a comment. And of course, you can find us on all big social media platforms, mainly Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. TikTok is not something we have started yet. let's see how that goes in the future. But yeah, you can definitely find us on the other big social media platforms. And also, Gianmarco, thank you so much for having me. This was a really cool talk.
Thank you so much.
I also learned a lot today as well. So I also thank you for sharing your valuable insights with me. I'll be sure to see if I can work them into a blog somewhere, and then I'll link you to it, or I'll tag you in it.
That's fantastic. Really cool. Yeah, happy to do that. So thank you again, Daniel. Guys, remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. So go take action on the tips that Daniel just shared, and remember to download the white paper that includes all the pricing strategy that we've been talking about. You can find that in the show notes at thesellerprocess.com or in the description of the YouTube video. All right. Thank you again, guys, for listening, and see you next time.
Thanks. Ciao, ciao.
Hey, entrepreneurs. I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes, and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.